Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of the Immigration Hour, a weekly show by an immigration attorney discussing important issues that matter to us. I am Attorney Stella. In our episode 3, we talked about the different types of visas. We talked about non-immigrant visas and about immigrant visas. And we said the immigrant visas are visas that are applied by United States citizens and lawful permanent residents, and they are permanent visas, bringing in their loved ones for them to stay permanently in the United States. Today, we will talk about the non-immigrant visas. How do you apply? How to apply for a non-immigrant visa? And as I earlier said in my previous video, because you're coming in, because it's a temporal visa, does not mean that it can remain temporal. You can come to the United States and choose to stay in the United States if you get married to a United States citizen or a lawful permanent resident, or if your condition changes, even you can also come in and apply for asylum. There are several types of non-immigrant visas. It could be work visa, it could be a student visa. But the question is, how do you apply for that visa in order to come to the United States? That is what today's episode is all about. In order to come to the United States, again, as a non-immigrant, in this case, you can come in as a B1, B2 visitor, B1 for business, B2 for pleasure. You can come in as a student, you can come in as an employee. So there are so many non-immigrant categories. If you're coming for a B2, as a B2 visitor, your requirements will be different from somebody who is coming in as a student. In order to come in as a non-immigrant, you have to file the form DS-160. You have to fill out the form DS-160 application for non-immigrant visa. You do that through the Department of State website. In order to complete the form DS-160, you need the following documents with you. You need a passport. A passport is a document issued to you by your home country. In that document, it will have your name, your date of birth, the place of birth, and when the passport was issued and when the passport will expire. So your passport is given to you not by the United States government but your home country, showing who you are. And that document is a document that you can use in order to identify your home country and also for you to be able to travel. So you need a passport in order to fill out the form DS-160. You also need travel history. If you have ever traveled to the United States before, you will need to indicate at least the 5 times that you've traveled to the United States, if you have traveled up to 5 times, and if not, indicate the times that you've gone to the United States, because that will show whether you went in and you came back, and when you traveled and when you returned. So it can also even ask for other international travels. So if you also traveled not only to the United States but to other nations, if you're traveling, do you have a travel itinerary? If you have a travel itinerary with you, you're also required to have that at hand while you're filling out that form. So you need to have your travel itinerary with you. You will fill out the form. The form will ask you as to whether you've made the arrangements for travel, which will be your air ticket, whether you're going in, normal in most cases, it has to show that you're going in to return, right? Because there's always that presumption of immigrant intent. When you're filing as a non-immigrant, there's always an intent. The American government always have in the back of their mind that you are going not to return. So again, if you have your travel itinerary showing that you're showing the date of exit, and the date of return, it would be nice to have it to fill out that form. And then you also have your resume. What is your level of education? What do you do? Were you working? What is your employment? Are you have a job in your home country? Are you gainfully employed? The government would want to know that. That will be, you have to put that information in your application, your Form DS 160. Also, as I indicated before, there are many other things that are required depending on the purpose for which you're traveling. So if you are traveling if you're going to the United States to study, so which would be maybe you have a F1 student, you have M student, you have a exchange visitor student. So with all of that, if you are F, J, and M, then your Form I-20 will have information that you need to put in your application. So again, your requirement as to what you need to fill out on this form depends on the purpose for which you are visiting the United States. If your petition, the non-immigrant petition, is based on temporary workers, which such as H1B, H2, H3, then you would be required to, and many other categories, you'll be required to have your Form I-129. You'll be required to have your Form I-129 with you. In that way, that form helps you to be able to fill out the Form DS 160. So you have to have that handy. That will show the name of the employer, what you're going to do, what is expected of you, the address of the employer in the United States. All of that information is required for you to be able to fill out that Form DS 160. So now you have all that information handy. Now you have gathered all this evidence. You've gathered all the requirements necessary for you to fill out the Form DS 160, the non-immigrant visa application. What do? You go to the United States Department of State website. You go to their website, and then you click onto the application. That is, you sign in. You sign in looking for the DS 160 application form. It will ask you to sign in. You sign in, and when you do sign in, it will give you a country code. You sign in, and then it will ask you what country are you in. Which country are you in? You look, they will show you a list of countries. You choose the country. Wherever you are in the world, you put in the country that you are in, and then you start filling out the application. When you put in that information, it will give you a number. It will give you an identification number, and that's the number that is assigned strictly just for you. So when you sign into that application, immediately you sign in, and you say what country you are from. You authenticate yourself. It will give you a number that number will be strictly your number. So you fill out the application. It asks for your name. It asks for your parents' name. It will ask you for a lot of biographic information. It asks for your passport number. Also, be very mindful of the fact that this website will time you out. If you're wasting too much time, it times you out, and then you have to resign. So again, that's why you have to have all that information handy, so that when you start filling out the application, you're just providing the information that is requested. Otherwise, it will time you out, and then you have to start all over. But the good thing is that information, when you do submit it in, you're saving it as you're going along, so you don't have to retype everything. But again, you have to restart because it has timed you out. You have to go back to the website and sign in again because it timed you out. So it's good to have all the information handy, so that when you start filling out the form, you just continue filling it out. So now you finish filling out the form. What next? You sign it. When you sign it, at the end you sign it, it goes straight to the Department of State. When you've completed the application, you make sure you sign it at the end. When you sign it, the application goes in. So your application is now tendered. When it goes in, you will have the confirmation page. Make sure that you print out the confirmation page of your application. You're not required to print out the entire application. Also, you can print it out so you can know the information that you have when you're finally going for your interview. So you print out. My recommendation is that you print out the entire application, and also what the U.S. Embassy is going to require from you is the confirmation page. But I recommend also that you print out the entire application form so that you can have it handy when you're going in for the interview. Now you have submitted your form DS 160, and you printed the barcode, the page, the confirmation page, which is the barcode. What next? What next do you do? You have to go to the U.S. Embassy website, schedule your interview, because again, it is not for the United States government does not schedule interviews. It's your responsibility to schedule your interview. Now you go and schedule your interview. You have to go, it's country specific. You go to the U.S. Embassy, through the Department of State's website. You go to the U.S. Embassy in your home country and you schedule your appointment. And if you're having problems doing this, I'm sure you can get somebody who understands English or who understands the computer a little bit more than you do to help you with the application process and even with the scheduling of this interview. What next? What you have to do is you have to pay your interview processing fee, and that is done when you go for the interview. After submitting your form DS 160, you print out the barcode, the confirmation page that will have the barcode. That's what you're going to need for your interview. My recommendation is do not only print out the barcode, also print out the form DS 160 itself. The form, the information that you've provided, you want to know it before you even go for your interview, because if you've made an error somehow, when you go in, you can tell the officer that, oh, okay, I made a mistake here. Can we change this? If you go without even knowing the information that you put in the application, they may infer that if there's an error, that you were hiding some information, that it was intentional. I hope that this has been educative. We are here to help as attorneys if you need our legal advice. But if you also have just a question, our objective is to provide information. If you have just a question, a general question that you want to ask, please do not hesitate to contact us. America is truly a land of immigrants. It's only in America that you have people from the north, from the south, from the east, and the west coexisting seamlessly. No matter where you come from, as long as you have a drive in you, you can attain that American dream that they talk of. Knowledge is power. Therefore, like, share, and subscribe so that we can empower each other. Thank you.